Nancy Pelosi has just tweeted after landing in Taiwan. In solidarity with 23 million Taiwan people. That's the message that comes out of Nancy Pelosi the moment she lands in Taiwan and carries. Is this rubbing Xi Jinping's nose to the ground? Is that what the US has just done, ma'am?
I wouldn't want to put it that way. I think it's the U.S., it's currently the global superpower, and it goes where it wants and does what it wants to a great extent. And how Xi Jinping wants to take it and how China wants to present it is a different story. But I don't think the goal is to rub his nose in it. The goal is absolutely to show that the U.S. is still number one, and it is not going to be bullied by threats and intimidation. And I think that the Taiwanese themselves will hopefully take away from this visit the understanding that they need to do some rethink. Most of Taiwanese investment goes to mainland China. Very little of it goes to Europe, Middle East, and elsewhere. So maybe Taiwan wants to change its approach if it really wants to maintain that strategic ambiguity and not move towards reunification.
So do not incentivize bullies. That's the signal. In fact, that's a signal that goes out to multiple countries and not just Taiwan. Perhaps a signal there even for India. Even with tension, General Kulkarni at the line of actual control, trade with China at an all-time high. China doesn't seem to get that message. If you incentivize, trade, they actually militarize, they weaponize trade, General Kulkarni.
They do. There is no denying the fact. But one thing is very clear, that the Chinese is an export-based economy. They cannot afford to annoy the world. If the sanctions come on China, they would not know which side to look for north. And especially with Xi Jinping's election expected that he is looking for a third term. They're looking at in a very big way for the Chinese Communist Party. At this particular stage, China would like to mess around. Yes, China would like to show that they are very powerful. China is a powerful country, but that definitely at no cost, would China ensure that it goes down the drain. Firstly, because its economy is in shatters. And after COVID and the way things are happening in Ukraine, China knows that it cannot mess around with the entire world. It's so much better that it can show itself that yes, it's an autocratic country, it is a powerful country, but definitely not beyond a point. And Xi Jinping knows his limits. Much that he might say that America don't play with fire, but Xi Jinping knows his limit and he would not. But India has to be careful. India must always be very, very vigilant. India cannot take a chance because it says, whatever we have to do, it is all that we have to do. Nobody is going to come to our rescue. And therefore, it's very important for us to be vigilant to ensure that at no point of time, China looks towards Ladakh.
Sana Hashmi, is this also your appreciation that China or Chinese President Xi Jinping overplayed his hand by warning the US President, don't play with fire, you'll get burnt, not realizing that he still has many years to catch up with the United States of America in terms of military or economic strength?
Definitely, I felt that they overreacted. They could have downplayed it as well. And even if you look at the social media, all the Chinese state media accounts as well as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs officials, they are online and they are threatening right now US and even about Su-35 crossing Taiwan Strait. This is a common tweet and the language is also the same. So you know that there is a kind of similar approach that everyone is following in China. So I feel that this is actually a loss for China because a few days back, Pentagon White House, it wasn't really on board with Pelosi's visit. But now if you look at it today, as soon as she landed, the first thing she did was to post the photos. Second, what she did was tweet. And if you look at her visit to other countries, she was trying to tweet. And this is how officials and when congressional visits happen, they take time to tweet. But this is the first thing. And also apart from that, what I would like to point out here, representative office, the de facto embassy, sometimes when such visits happen, they distance themselves from the visits. And they're not very proactive. But even they have tweeted about it. So what the US is trying to show us is that there is unity and the intimidation is not going to work with the US and with Taiwan as well now.
Intimidation will not work either with the US or with Taiwan. Wen Yi Li, you are a correspondent on ground, and how has Nancy Pelosi been received on ground?
So a lot of people, Taiwanese people here, as I just mentioned, they are expecting Nancy Pelosi to bring more friendship from the U.S. To Taiwan. And I wanted to make some points that what is expected is that tomorrow, what kind of message is she preparing to send to Taiwan? That's an important thing that we need to take care of, because she's going to visit Congress, and then she's going to meet a lot of human rights activists. We've known that she's a long-time human rights supporter, so this is an important factor that we want to see. And also, last week, the U.S. government, the U.S. Congress just passed the CHIPS Act. So the semiconductor industry would be one point that we want to look at as well for tomorrow.